السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله رب العالمين، وأصلي وأسلم على المبعوث رحمة للعالمين وعلى آله وأصحابه وإخوانه أما بعد. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says in the Quran, يحسبون الأحزاب لم يذهبوا وإن يأتي الأحزاب يودوا لو أنهم بادون في الأعراب يسألون عن أنبائكم ولو كانوا فيكم ما قاتلوا إلا قليلا لقد كان لكم في رسول الله أسوة حسنة لمن كان يرجو الله واليوم الآخر وذكر الله كثيرا ولما رأى المؤمنون الأحزاب قالوا هذا ما وعدنا الله ورسوله وصدق الله ورسوله وما زادهم إلا إيمانا وتسليما. أخواني في الله, we're continuing our lecture series regarding the history of the Mongolians in the 7th century of Islam, from the beginning at the time of Genghis Khan until they were defeated near the lands of Gaza. We are going to discuss this period of history that was a very difficult period in our history. Ikhwani fillah, tonight we're going to discuss about a 20-year period that's the most difficult in Islamic history. For in the year 626, we mentioned, one of the grandsons of Salahuddin al-Ayyubi, Al-Kamil Ayyubi, he gives Al-Quds, Bayt al-Maqdis, to his crusader friends for an alliance against his fellow family members. He gives it for free. This city, that is a Qibla, that was the first Qibla for the Muslims. This city, where the Prophet ﷺ traveled all the way to Mecca, to that city, so that he could ascend to the heavens, was given for free to his friend. One of the greatest betrayals, something the Muslims struggled for 88 years to recapture back from the Crusaders, he gave it out for free. So we lost Bayt al-Maqdis for a couple of years. Number two, the year 633 of the Hijri calendar, we lost, until today we have recovered that city, the city of Qurtuba, the capital city of Muslim Andalus, one of the greatest, most developed civilizations seen by mankind. We lost the city of Qurtuba in the year 633. We're going to discuss also how the Muslims will thereafter lose the capital city of the Muslims, the capital city of the Islamic State, the city of Baghdad, that is in Iraq. Thereafter they're going to lose the city of Aleppo, Halab, Damascus. And the only city that is of political strength that remains for the Muslims is the city of Cairo. And there is where the victory for the Muslims will come. Ikhwani fillah, in the previous lecture, we mentioned that after Genghis Khan, he died, his son became the leader of the great Mongolian Empire. His son is called Ogatai. When Ogatai died, his son, Kyuk, became the leader. Kyuk died in the year 646 of the Hijri calendar. In this period, from the year 646 to the year 649, the leader of the Mongolians was a lady. The lady is called Olga Kimish. She was the leader, the wife or the widow of this leader who died. She was the leader of the entire Mongolian Empire. And how big was this Mongolian Empire? It was starting all the way towards the west, towards the east, Korea. It goes up to the west in Poland. It reaches all the way to Poland. You know, Poland, Warsaw, and all those sides. Then northwards, Russia, Siberia, all that land is Mongolian land. And southwards until the South China Sea. This is the greatest continuous empire ever seen by human beings in the recorded history. Sometimes you read in history that they say the British Empire was the biggest empire. That is something jokes you're saying, honestly. The British Empire, even if in terms of square kilometers they captured some land, they were not in charge of the entire land. They come to a country like Kenya where we don't have any weapons, and they count that as part of the empire. They go to places like some small islands like Falkland Islands near Argentina, and they claim that to be the sparsely populated areas and places that have no weapons, that have no civilization, they have not caught up in terms of the modern way of fighting, and they claim that to be the empire. But the largest empire ever seen by human beings is this empire of the Mongolians that captured most of Asia and Europe. It did not capture Africa. Not a single part of Africa was captured by the Mongolians. So the year 646, this woman is the leader of this empire. Of course, there are some issues the men will not accept. How can you be led by a woman, this great empire? So there are some divisions in the society. Then the year 649 of the Hijri calendar comes. One of the Mongolians is called Mongke Khan. Mongke Khan, the son of Tolui, the son of Genghis Khan. He's the grandson of Genghis Khan. So he goes to a place in Kyrgyzstan to meet his cousin, Batu Khan. Batu is the one who conquered Europe, we mentioned yesterday. So he comes to Batu Khan, we say a Kenyan joke, hi cousin, he says, hi cousin, he meets Batu Khan. So he says, it's not proper for us, the great Mongolians, to be led by a woman. Please support my family to take over leadership of the Mongolians. So they have a tribal meeting that's called a Kurultai. A tribal meeting called a Kurultai to choose the next great Khan of the Mongolians, the fourth Khan of the Mongolians. So he says the next Khan of the Mongolians is Mongke Khan. Of course, the lady who was leading should not accept this. And they had a small war of fighting. She was captured. She was kept closed after tortured, kept in a carpet and thrown into the river to drown, and she died. So the new leader of the Mongolians, in a most difficult period for the Muslims, beginning the year 649 of the Hijri calendar, is this man called Mongke Khan. Mongke Khan is the son of Toli, the son of Genghis Khan. He is supported by three of his brothers. One of his brothers is called Bokhe. The youngest of all of them is called Bokhe. This Bokhe is with the leader in Mongolia to support him in governing from their capital city, Karakorum. The second brother, Kublai Khan, has been sent to China to conquer parts of China, the Yunnan, the Dali Kingdom, Vietnam, and Tibet. So he's focusing more on the east. And this other brother who remains, the one we Muslims hate the most from all of them, is called Hulagu Khan. Hulagu Khan. You have to memorize this name, because this is one of the most hated people in Islamic history. The same way I saw some videos of brothers in Indonesia a few days ago, and I've seen it many times in the Western society. Whenever they see a video of Netanyahu on TV, they even break the TV. So the same way they have that hate for Netanyahu. By the way, for benefit, why do we say Netanyahu? Who knows? We separate his name. The Arabs separate his name. They say Netanyahu. Netanyahu is something dead, disgusting, filthy, the most smelliest thing in Arabic. The Prophet ﷺ talks about tribalism. He says, Da'uha fa'innaha muntina. It is something najis, something so disgusting and filthy. So we've given this man the name Netanyahu. The same way you hate Netanyahu, even more hate for you should be in your hearts for this man called Hulagu Khan. He was in charge of the western part of Asia, Azerbaijan and Iran, the borders, the land that is bordering the Islamic Caliphate. Are you together? So he's the leader of this area. So he's tasked, you have to conquer the Islamic lands. Starting with the Dawla al-Abbasiyya that is based in Baghdad. Thereafter, you take the lands of Syria and Palestine. Syria, Sham is one land. Sham is Syria, Jordan, Lebanon, and Palestine. Take these lands. Thereafter, enter Egypt and destroy the Ayyubids if they are left, or the Mamluks at that time. So he's been tasked with this task of destroying the Muslims and erasing Islam for all of eternity. Type. Hanifillah, this man, with all his army and all the strength, he does not rush to attack the Muslims. Because the Muslims, Hanifillah, they have been a superpower for the last 500 years plus. They are not a simple society. They are a society that have a history, a civilization, a legacy. People fear the Muslims. When they hear the name of Islam and the Muslims, they shake in fear. So these people are superpowers. We cannot just attack the Muslims, especially the Khalifa. You've had the Khalifa in Baghdad. You've heard of Baghdad, the greatest city on earth. The greatest city on earth. The city of Baghdad. The city of Bayt al-Hikmah. The grandest library ever built by human beings. This is the city of Harun al-Rashid. This is the city of al-Mu'tasib. This is the city of al-Ma'amun. This is the city of Imam Ahmed ibn Hanbal. This is the city of Abu Hanifa, and so on and so forth. You cannot attack a city like that without planning. So he sets out to plan. Number one, Ikhwani Fillah, he prepares the infrastructure for conquering the Islamic State, the Khalifa. So he says, number one, all the roads from China towards the border of Iraq, all these roads have to be repaired and in good condition. So that when my army is crossing, I do not want any difficulties in crossing. Yes, there are mountainous regions like Tajikistan is very mountainous, Afghanistan is very mountainous, Iran is very mountainous. We'll walk around that. But we want every road repaired, fully ready for this great army of the Mongolians that's going to enter the land of the Muslims. Number two, with regards to infrastructure, we want all the rivers in these great lands, especially the river of Jayhun and Seyhun, bridges. We have to have bridges everywhere. And these bridges are going to be guarded 24/7, 365. Every day they are going to be guarded by a group or part of the army of the Mongolians. Number three, let us have carriages. We build vehicles or carriages or caravans that we can carry weapons and equipment so that if the Muslims hide themselves in their fortresses, we're able to besiege them, we're able to destroy their fortresses easily. So we need to carry all this equipment from all the way from China, because in China we have very good engineers. So we need to have great caravans. Number four, all the towns and all the places that this road passes, we have to have our soldiers in all those areas protecting this path. And number five, we do not want anyone to use this road until further notice. Why don't you want anyone to use this road until further notice? This road that stretches all the way from China to the border of Iraq, we want the grass to grow fully. We want this place to be green and lush, so that when our horses and our camels and our fighting animals come to attack, they have sufficient food. There are no vehicles during those days. With a vehicle, you need fuel. The same way with the horse, you need fuel. By difference, with a vehicle, if there's no fuel, you can wait. But with a horse, it dies. The Mongolians used to have at least, each soldier has like 3 or 4 horses. One person has like 3 or 4 horses. One is for his food, one gets tired, he uses another one, and so on and so on. So they can travel great distances. So this is with regards to infrastructure. That is the first of their plan, the 4 items they kept in agenda. Number 2, they said we have to form alliances. We have to improve on our diplomacy. The first part with regards to infrastructure, that is Ministry of Defense. Hulagu Khan is in charge of that. The Ministry of Defense, or the Secretary of War, or whoever terminology was given at the time, he's in charge of that. The second one is diplomacy. I, as the Hakhan, Mongke Khan, I take responsibility for this. King Louis IX had launched the 7th crusade against the Muslims in the year 647 of the Hijri calendar in the land of Egypt. But he was defeated by the Muslims in Mansoura and in Dimyat, and he was captured. And they paid a great sum of money to ransom him, and he went back to France. But the hate for Islam still remained in his heart. So he writes a letter to Mongke Khan, all the way from France to Mongke Khan in Mongolia, asking him to form an alliance so that they can fight the Muslims. Once again, he never asks to give justice for all the Christians that are massacred by the Mongolians, for their hate for Islam is greater than their love for their fellow people. وَلَن تَرْضَ عَنْكَ الْيَهُودُ وَلَن نَصَارَ حَتَّى تَتَّبِعَ مِلَّتَهُم. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that they will not be pleased with you, they will not be content with you until you follow their ways. And even if you follow their ways, they're not still content with you. So he writes a letter to the Great Khan, asking him for an alliance. The Great Khan is not knowledgeable about politics. He doesn't understand the decorum or the etiquettes required when you meet ambassadors and so on and so forth. He does not understand the plastic or the fake smiles. He does not understand all this politics of al-mujamala, of praising people and giving them attributes that do not belong to them. So they have disagreements. He says, number one, I do not consider anyone on the face of earth to be my ally. You're either my follower or you're my enemy. I am the master, I am the ruler of all these great lands under the sky. I do not consider anyone on this planet to be my friend. You're either my follower or my enemy, and I am your master. You have to accept this. So there are disagreements with regards to these terms or whatever, and the discussions they broke. This was year 651 of the Hijri calendar. Then he learns from his mistakes, the great Khan. He calls another man, I forgot his name, the king of Armenia. So the king of Armenia comes. Armenia, we said, is north of Azerbaijan. It is a Christian kingdom, one of the oldest Christian kingdoms in history, still present till today. So the king of Armenia has been harmed many times by the Mongolians. A lot of massacres have occurred on his land. But the rule for them, the Crusaders, is that our hate for Muslims is greater than anything else. Muslims are greater than any. The difference between us and Muslims is an ideology. It's a belief system. The difference between us and Mongolians is just these people are barbarians. We have no difference when it comes to intellectual or ideology of belief. It's something else. So he comes all the way to, he's called Haythum. He's called Haythum, the king of Armenia. Haythum the first. He comes, he's welcomed, he's treated like an honorable guest, he's fed well. And he says, "Oh great king, oh great Khan, I have come to be your follower." He speaks the language that the Mongolians wanted. So the Mongolians really welcome him. They say, "You're a great king, you're a great man, Haythum. We'll give you whatever you want." Number one, whatever personal wealth you have, no one will touch your personal wealth. All the lands that you own, all the animals, all the castles, no one will touch this, will protect you. Number two, all the taxes that will be charging your churches and your monasteries, we're not going to charge any more taxes to your monasteries and your churches. Take that into account. Number three, we're going to assist you to take back lands that were taken by the Seljuks, the people of where Turkey is currently now, people of Anadol, Seljuk Rum, we're going to help you return back all those lands that are taken from you by the Turks. Number four, we're going to make you a senior advisor to the great Khan with regards to any affair related to west of Asia. So he's given all this. Why? Why was he given all this? Yet he's a very weak leader. Armenia is a country, that's maybe a tenth of the size of Kenya. It's a very small country, like 30,000 or 35,000 square kilometers, very tiny country. So why is he given all this? Number one, the great Khan, he saw that these people have an experience and a history with the Muslims. They have fought with the Muslims very many times. They have lessons and they have learned about the ideology and the way the Muslims think. So this will help us a lot as Mongolians. Number two, he is going to help us form alliances with other Christian leaders. We have killed very many Christians in our way of conquering Eastern Europe and Russia. We killed so many Christians. We need these Christians and these crusaders in our fold. I understand the politics. Number three, this Haythum forming an alliance with us is going to give a lot of stress and psychological warfare on the Muslims. Fighting the Mongolians alone is one thing. But imagine you as Muslims, you're fighting the Mongolians in an alliance with so many other people. So this is the reason he chose a Haythum as the first leader. So this diplomacy, it passed. The first one with the King Louis the Ninth failed. The second one with the King of Armenia, it succeeded. Third, the Mongolians did not stop there. They're fighting Muslims. These Muslims are scary people. We need to plan and plot effectively. So they send some envoys all the way to the lands of Asham, the land of Lebanon, the land of Syria, the land of Palestine, and there in that part of the world, there are some small kingdoms, crusader states that remained that are not yet liberated by the Muslims. The Muslims did not free these lands. The lands of Beirut, the lands of Tripoli, the lands of Antakya, the lands of Saida, Akka, Haifa, and so on and so forth were ruled by Christian crusaders. So these envoys were sent there, told, please, we want you to form alliance with us as the Mongolians in fighting the Muslims. All of them, except one, refused, or they excused themselves. Says, right now we're focused on our defense against the Muslims. We don't want to cause problems with the Muslims right now. We're not in a good state. We come back, except the leader of Antakya, Antioch, that is currently in Turkey. He accepted the terms and said, I'm not able to assist you right now, but if you reach Syria, I'm definitely going to join your army. So it's called Bohemond. So this also succeeded, a third alliance, Bohemond. A fourth alliance, there were Christians living in the lands of the Muslims. If you look at our history as Muslims, we have always been living well with these people who are not of our faith. These are people, we found them on their faith. And they have stayed with us and they're still upon their faith, many of them. That's why you find Egypt has Christians, over 10 million Christians. We did not massacre them. We did not cause a genocide of them. We lived side by side with these Christians. We have Christians in Syria. We have Christians in Iraq. We have Christians all over the Muslim world. We have Jews in Yemen. We had Jews in Iran. We have Jews in Morocco, in Tunisia, in many parts of the world. We are not people who la ikraha fi din. We're not forcing anyone upon our religion. As long as you follow the laws of the land, you stay. So you find that Christians have left in our lands in peace, and the Jews and the people of the book all those years without any problem, all those centuries. And they continue doing so. So the Mongolians, they looked for some Christians also to assist them. And they found someone very dangerous, the leader of the Christians of Iraq, the Patriarch of Baghdad. He joined the alliance. So this is also successful. This is the fourth successful part. The fifth successful part, he also called the leaders of Georgia. Georgia is next to Armenia, also managed to form an alliance with them. For the same reason, their hate for Islam is greater than their love for their kin. So they formed, with most of the Christians they could find around the area of the Muslims or bordering the land of the Muslims, they formed an alliance with them. So this was also successful diplomacy. Number 6, one of the most disgusting things also happened. They formed alliances with Muslim states to fight their own Muslim brothers. There are some Muslim states that also formed and joined the alliance to fight or to destroy the lands of the Muslims. The leader of Damascus and Halab, these are the two capital cities of Syria. It's called Nasir Yusuf. He sent his son Al-Aziz to join the alliance of Hulagu Khan. He betrays the Muslims. The leader of Turkey, Anatolia, that place, it's called Karj Atslan, also sends and joins the alliance. So that if Mongolians want to enter from Europe, remember they had conquered all Hungary, all that side. If they want to enter the army from Europe, they can pass the land of Turkey without any problem. So they form alliance also. The leader of Mosul, one of the most evil, disgusting people I've read about, it's called Badruddin Lu'lu. Someone very old, also forms an alliance with the Mongolians. The leader of Hims, one of the cities of Syria, it's called Ashraf al-Ayyubi. These are grandchildren of Salahuddin al-Ayyubi. Salahuddin al-Ayyubi, the person who Muslims love a lot because he rescued Bayt al-Maqdis. He brought Masjid al-Aqsa back to the fall of Muslims. Then you find his own grandsons forming alliances with these enemies of Islam. These people who are going to butcher the Muslims. So Al-Ashraf al-Ayyubi and his cousin Nasir ibn Yusuf, all of them, they form an alliance. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, فَتَرَى الَّذِينَ فِي قُلُوبِهِمْ مَرَضٍ يسارعون فيهم يقولون نخشى أن تصيبنا دائرة فعسى الله أن يأتي بالفتح أو أمر من عنده فيصبح على ما أسروا في أنفسهم نادمين. You'll find people, Allah says in the Quran, you will see people, they rush to the enemies of Islam. They say, we're doing this because of wisdom, because of politics. We're afraid that if we do not appease them, if we do not go to them, we'll harm our lands. So they think that is wisdom. But the true wisdom, for example, right now, what is happening to Palestine is not going to stop in Palestine. They had that meeting in Qatar a few days ago. The leader of Qatar, he said the following words. He said, we have had the Prime Minister of Israel saying the following words, that he will change the Middle East, that this will not stop in Gaza. He has reached that level of arrogance that he is not hiding his intentions anymore. That every area of the Middle East is within our reach as Zionists, as Israelis. So the thing that's happening to Gaza will also happen to all the lands that they wish to plot. It's not their end game. They have a greater plan of a greater Israel, as you're all aware. Right. So all these people, they form an alliance. So this is the second part with regards to diplomacy. Hulagu Khan is very successful. The third part, or the second part, I've forgotten one part. They form an alliance, with one of the greatest betrayers in Islamic history. A man Muslims even hate to mention his name. The Prime Minister of Iraq, the Prime Minister, the Senior Minister in the Islamic Khilafah, Al-Alqami, Mu'ayyiduddin Al-Alqami. This man was a Shia. He's from the Shia Ibn Ashariya. People who hate Islam. They hate Abu Bakr, they hate Umar, they hate Uthman, they hate the mothers of the believers, they hate Aisha radiallahu anha. This person who had a lot of hate and jealousy of how the Ahl Sunnah had achieved, he was also part of the alliance of the Mongolians. And he's one of the main reasons that the Muslims fell into the despair and the harm that we're going to discuss in the forthcoming lecture. So these are the three that succeeded so far. We've talked about infrastructure, diplomacy. Number three, this alliance, yes, the diplomacy and the alliance. Number three, they started something called psychological warfare. Before, you fight an enemy, you have to demoralize them. You have to demotivate them. You have to make them look weak and make the enemy look great. Are you together? And this is a big sin, never do such a thing. Never put the enemies of Islam on such a great pedestal. You say, they have the greatest planes, they have the best technology, they have AI. What do you Muslims have? You don't even make your own slippers, and so on and so on. It's not correct. It's not the correct way. So they started something called psychological warfare. For this, they employed some evil munafiqun from amongst the Muslims, people of poetry, people of qasas. So the poets, they start spreading information and their poetry amongst the population of the Muslims. They say that this Tatar, these Mongolians are the Ya'juj or Ma'juj. You cannot fight the Ya'juj or Ma'juj. They say that these Mongolians, the woman is stronger than even the men. The woman soldier from the Mongolians is even stronger than the men. These Mongolians, their horses, when they're ridden, it burns, it causes the lands to cause fire. And all this also scares the Muslims a lot. No one can fight the Mongolians. The people receive news. The people give news to the Mongolians. Mongolians do not give news to anyone because they destroy everyone, and so on and so forth. So psychological warfare through poetry and through these people. Number two, they also employ Muslim writers to send letters that threaten the Khalifa. We're going to destroy you. We're going to do this to your family. We're going to do this to your relatives. We're going to, and so on. Letters that are very eloquent, written by the best Arabic language, the balagha. So that also causes fear. And these letters are also read openly in public squares, in mosques, and so on and so forth. Psychological warfare continues. Number three, they attack caravans and they cause an embargo of the land of Iraq. Like the same way they did in Gulf War I and Gulf War II. They caused an embargo of Iraq. So no food, no merchandise, no trade can enter the land of Iraq. So this was a way of causing a psychological warfare. And number four, they cause random attacks so that they can make them busy in unable to protect the land. This also tires you every time you hear that a part of the land of the Muslims has been attacked. You go rush there to help them, to give them medical aid, then you hear another part has been attacked. So this happened, psychological warfare. And number four, Ikhwani fillah, number one we said was infrastructure. Number two, we talked about diplomacy. Now, number three, we talked about psychological warfare. Number four, I have forgotten. We can forget sometimes. I'll remember later, inshallah. Why are you laughing? People can forget. So, Hulagu Khan, Ikhwani fillah, he prepared for 5 good years on how to conquer these Muslims. He formed his alliances. He took all the asbab of Nasr. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he says in the Quran, لو أرادوا الخروج لأعدوا له عدة ولكن كره الله بعاثهم فثبطهم وقيل قعدوا مع القاعدين. If you Muslims truly want to give victory to the deen of Allah Azza wa Jal, if you want to really save those Muslims in distress, the ones that are oppressed, لأعدوا له عدة, you will have prepared yourself. ولكن كره الله بعاثهم, but Allah hated for you to perform this ibadah of nusra of your fellow brothers. فَثَبَّطَهُمْ, He made you heavy, He made you lazy, He made you stuck to the ground. وَقِيلَ قُعُدُوا مَعَ الْقَاعِدِينَ, it was said to them, sit and be like the people who sit. So Ikhwani fillah, this was the state of the Muslims in the year 649 to the year 654 as they are waiting for the impending doom at the hands of the Mongolians. What was the state of the Muslims like, Ikhwani fillah? Number one, Muslims were divided. Muslims were divided. There was a lot of infighting. Also infighting amongst fellow brothers, like the Dawla al-Ayyubiyya, Syria and Egypt. You find blood brothers, same mother, same father. What are they fighting for? Huh? What are they fighting for? They're fighting for a throne, for kingship. Number two, the Prophet ﷺ says, إِذَا وُسِدَ الْأَمْرُ إِلَى غَيْرِ أَهْلِهِ فَانْتَظِرِ السَّاعَةِ. If you have leadership that's not worthy of leadership, then await your destruction. When you find the leaders are focused on things that are not priorities, then you know you're a society that's going towards destruction. Number three, if you find, on this time, there was a lot of qabaliyah, there was a lot of tribalism and racism amongst the Muslims, so to speak. The lands of Iran, Tajikistan, Afghanistan, Uzbekistan, all these lands of Muslims, Iran and so on, Azerbaijan, all these lands of Khorasan, they were taken by the time of Genghis Khan. Yet you will not find even in the books, the scholars, you will not find the poets speaking about those lands in pain and anguish that our brothers and our sisters were harmed and so on and so forth. That is a problem for them. As we are different society, as we are Somalis, as we are Swahilis, as we are Arabs, those are a different society. So there's qabaliyah. The Prophet ﷺ says, "Ad-da'watu jahiliya bayna adhurik." Are you going to call by the da'wah of jahiliya wa ana bayna adhurikum, and I'm amongst you? Da'uha fa innaha muntina. This issue of tribalism is what causes a lot of problems for us as Muslims. If you want to destroy the Muslims, it's very easy. If you want to conquer any Muslim society, number one, spread ma'asi in that society. Let them be focused on romance and girlfriends. Let them be focused on the party life, on alcohol, on mira, on shisha, whatever it is. If you want to destroy the Muslims, let them know their tribes, that this is from this tribe. Not only tribes, let them know their clans. Not only clans, sub-clan and so on. That's how you destroy the Muslims. And this is the situation the Muslims found themselves in that period. And the Prophet ﷺ also mentions another disease, حُبُّ الدُّنْيَا وَكَرَاهَةُ الْمَوْتِ. The Prophet ﷺ says, was asked, وَمَا الْوَهْنُ? What is that disease that affects the Muslims? He says, when the Muslims start loving this dunya and hate death. That is a great disease. And from the things that this disease causes, when people love, they start competing in this world. Jealousy forms in society. People want the largest business. They want the biggest houses. They want the tallest buildings. They want the most expensive vacation to be on Instagram and TikTok and so on and so forth. So this is the thing that preoccupies you Muslims. And also the next issue, the Prophet ﷺ mentions, is that the Muslims forget that Allah has given them something that is a pinnacle of their religion, and that is the issue of jihad. To protect themselves by themselves, not to rush to conferences or to the Security Council or to condemn or to, no. Defend yourselves as Muslims. Prophet ﷺ says, مَا تَرَكَ الْقَوْمَ الْجِهَادِ إِلَّا ذُلُّ. People will not leave this jihad except they will be humiliated. The Prophet ﷺ says, إِذَا تَبَايَعْتُمْ بِالْعِينَ وَرَضِيتُمْ بِالزَّرْعِ وَتَرَكْتُمُ الْجِهَادَ فِي سَبِيلِ إِذَا تَبَايَعْتُمْ بِالْعِينَ وَرَضِيتُمْ بِالزَّرْعِ وَأَخَذْتُمْ أَذْنَابَ الْبَقَرِ وَتَرَكْتُمُ الْجِهَادَ فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ سَلَّطَ اللَّهُ عَلَيْكُمْ ذُلًّا لَا يَنزِعُهُ حَتَّى تَرْجِعُوا إِلَى دِينِكُمْ. If you start focusing on these four things and you leave the jihad fi sabilillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will humiliate you and bring your destruction. So ikhwani, these are diseases that are present in the 7th century of Islam, and this is one of the reasons that led to the destruction. In the forthcoming lecture, ikhwani, we're going to discuss about the destruction of the greatest city the Muslims have ever built, the city of Baghdad, the capital city of the Muslims, a city that the Muslims had a lot of love for, the city that was known as the Darus Salam. It was known as the city of peace. This is what we shall look at in the forthcoming lecture. The destruction not only of Baghdad, also the conquest of the Mongolians of the land of Syria, capturing of Halab, Mayarfarqin and Dimashq. And thereafter, we'll talk about one of the greatest victories, not only in Islamic history, but in world history, the great battle that occurred in the borders of the land of Gaza, the battle of Ain Jalut that occurred in the year 658. And we shall talk about the great hero of Islamic history, Muhammad Qutuz. This is what we shall look at in our forthcoming lectures.